class, today we're going to discuss your test a little bit. Don't get too excited, I'm not going to give any answers away. As always, the preliminaries, you know exactly how to do things, or run your stuff through SafeAssign. You also want to make sure that you are doing your referencing correctly in text as well as reference list. Let's have a look at our question 1. The term persuasion can be defined and used in various ways, and there are many different forms of persuasion. Using an online advert of your choice, identify and discuss a form of persuasion that appears in the advertisement. Ensure that you paste the advertisement above your answer and reference it correctly. Okay, so I don't have to tell you to reference, they are actually doing it kindly in your test outline. What I would like to point you toward is, of course, the 8 different types of persuasion that we have discussed. Not Packard or Maslow or anything like that. That comes a little bit later. You want to either showcase an advert that is educational, or that uses manipulation, or that uses blackmail, or that uses not psychological warfare because it's the wrong context, indoctrination, and so on and so forth. Please make sure that you are discussing the form of persuasion first before you apply. Your sequence of answering questions in the text should always be theory first and then application. Do not drop the ball on application. For 10 marks, you will have to give a little bit of theory, or actually a little bit more theory, and then hopefully apply for 5 marks as well. When you are referring to the theory, make sure that you are reading widely and not just your book, and reference that accordingly as well. Distinction. Question number 2 relates to the conception of democracy. Let's have a look. The contemporary Western idea that democracy is the best form of government is one that is believed rather than proven. This seems particularly true with regards to the practice of democracy in Africa. I'll give you a weird picture. Well. Using the image above as a starting point, explain the differences between the Western and the African conceptions of democracy. As you can see, this is for 10 marks. Therefore, you will probably have to start off with giving a nice explanation of what democracy is in the first place. You could maybe relate to the pillars of democracy, voting, a legal structure, and so on and so forth, in your own words, of course. And then you want to move your answer toward the African idea and what it actually is to be African, and what it is to be prescribed a Western ideology, a Western governmental system, and how we maybe battle as Africans to come to terms with that. Once again, make sure that your answer flows and that the reader can follow you at all times. Distinction. Question number 3 has to do with the equalities that exist in a democracy. A very, very small little excerpt that they're giving you here. Equality means a society where we work hard to unleash our potential and climb the ladder of success. But how can we all start on a level playing field if we have a society featuring massive discrepancies of wealth? It is not only impossible, it is ludicrous. Equality means a system where political parties reflect the will of the people, where everyone has shelter, education, and food, and where people are free from discrimination. Equality is ultimately a lie. I don't know about your particular lecturer, but I have gone through the setbacks of equality within the South African context. Remember, there were 3 equalities: equality of opportunity, equality before the law, and political equality. Here they seem to talk very nicely about the equality in opportunity. Let's have a look what they're asking. In the article above, Littler argues that equality of opportunity is impossible. Using Littler's argument as a starting point, examine the theoretical equalities that are essential to a democracy, focusing on the equality of opportunity and political equality. Use relevant examples to show your understanding. So they do not want you to go into only where these equalities are actually not being applied. They want you to talk about equalities in the wider sense. For 20 marks, You can see you have to put a little bit of meat onto your discussion bone, so make sure that you are looking at these equalities from various perspectives and that you explain to the reader exactly what these equalities hold and what they should represent, and of course as well how they are not really represented in the South African context. Distinction. Question 4. They made a little mistake in the initial test, which I'm having here right now. It is not any 2 below listed needs, according to Packard. They want you to actually discuss all 3 of them. You can see here the mark allocation is 15 marks, and we have 5 per need that Packard actually brings up. So please read the addendum to the test. This particular question needs you to explain affirmation of value, ego satisfaction, and immortality. What are they asking? In the 1950s, Vance Packard identified 8 hidden needs to which advertisers might appeal in attempting to persuade recipients to buy their products. Discuss any 3 of the below listed needs. To support your answer for each, refer to a detailed advertising example that aims to fulfill each need. Once again, in my particular outline of the course, I have an ICE task that deals with exactly that. So hopefully your lecturer has done that too, and you've already chosen your adverts per need. Please remind yourself of what these needs are all about. There is no such thing as you just sucking things out of your thumb, you just knowing what Packard actually meant by these needs. Once again, I would recommend you looking outside of your particular book, because your persuasive communication textbook doesn't exactly give you the kind of insight and the kind of depth that you might require for your answers. Affirmation of value, just in a nutshell, remember, had to do with advertisers and persuaders telling you about your worth and telling you how valuable you are and how important you are. Ego satisfaction, I always say in German, they're smearing honey around your beard, which means as much as they are complimenting you, they are making you feel great, they're making you feel awesome. So that's what persuaders do under ego satisfaction. And lastly, immortality is our wish to live forever, or to preserve our youth, or to preserve our legacy. Please make sure that you are referencing the adverts that you are choosing, that you're inserting them properly. Inserting them properly would be to say something like figure 4.1, colon, the title of your advert, and then in brackets you have your in-text reference. And remember, your in-text reference is only the surname, or probably in your case the advertiser, comma, and the year. And then you're closing the bracket, and in your reference list you will have the detailed reference for your advert. As always, I want you to mention a bit of theory behind these needs and then have a nice application of these needs to your particular advert. Distinction. They made a little oopsie here as well. It's not question 6, it's of course question 5. Only 5 marks allocated for this one. So a nice juicy paragraph is all we need here. Examine the image of President Cyril Ramaphosa below and answer the question that follows. You can see him standing on the podium and giving a little bit of a speech. Define objectics as a type of nonverbal communication. List 3 examples of objectics evident in the above image and explain what these objects communicate about President Ramaphosa in the image. Easy enough, I would say. I actually think that objectics are the one nonverbal category that is easy to explain. Remind yourself constantly that nonverbal communication are the messages that you're sending out with anything but words, written or spoken words. Yeah? So this is always your starting point. And do not forget to please make sure what these messages communicate. I'm not going to refer to the picture, but if I am wearing a lovely handbag, maybe from Louis Vuitton, it obviously communicates about me that I might have a little bit more money and that I have good taste. Just kidding. But please follow up with the identification of the object in the picture and tell the reader what that means, the kind of interpretations that are attached to the object. And this is already the end of the paper. Distinction. It is for 60 marks that you have to write your text. Please aim for about 600 words to 1,000 words. As I said, be kind to your marker, and nothing puts us in a worse mood than having to read pages and pages for what should be a short document. Good luck with your test, and I'll see you soon.